And we are on. Good evening. Welcome, my friends. This is Psycho Silver. My name is Jerome. I hope that today you're counting your wealth in ounces, and also, very importantly, that you're holding your word, especially to yourself. Thank you for putting on my channel. On this channel, what I like to do is every night I go through all these different news sites that I've spent years collecting and figuring out who's good to follow, who's full of shit, and who you can trust. And so I've sorted through so many different followers, and I get the news from them and I bring it to you, my own kind of little aggregation. And it's taken me such a long time to curate all these sources. And I've also educated myself on sound money economics, at least for an amateur, for a layman. But here, we pay special attention to the death of the dollar. Yes, that is happening. You are here for the collapse of an empire, at least partial collapse, if not full-on collapse. We'll find out. And yep, the dollar's dying, and we get to witness it. Very interesting. I also keep a very close eye. I like to observe what keeps the bottom 50% only earning 2% and maintaining 2% of all the wealth. What is the misinformation that people encounter when they attempt to educate themselves on finance and money? And by extension, it's very tough to understand politics if you do not have a grasp on what's happening economically around the world. Like they say, follow the money, right? Well, a lot of people will follow the headlines instead. And that's why when you talk to the average person, they really don't understand much about what's going on except for whatever the latest fear-based headline and mainstream narrative push is in the moment. So we will be going through the news, and why don't you just join me? Let's jump right in tonight. I usually want to open with some remarks, but I just feel like jumping in tonight. So let's do just that. I did not plan on. I found this seconds before I began the broadcast. So I haven't had a chance to verify this, but I do. It makes sense to me. What we have here is a tweet from Tracy on Twitter. She writes, mind-blowing, U.S. banks ranked by derivatives. And this is just the top 50. There are 1,252 on the list. Let's have a look here. And this is according to a website called usbanklocations.com. And so I've never verified this site. It looks official. It looks like there's quite a bit of data here. And we can zoom in a little bit. We can zoom in. And there we have the infamous JP Morgan Bank. JP Morgan, of course, on top with the most derivatives. Am I reading this correctly? Let's see. Thousands, millions, billions, 57 trillion in derivatives. Well, I've been thinking and talking about this quite a bit lately. It's my humble opinion that we will see the entire derivative complex collapse, and if not collapse, at least partially, we'll see it severely compromised to the point where people will be fleeing to real money. And what is real money? Of course, real money is gold, silver. The only money, the oldest money, the only money, silver and gold. And I will, honestly, this is something that I would really need to just chew on for a while. I mean, what does it mean? What would it mean to see a full-on or partial, it would be partial collapse of these huge derivative debt bubbles? But also, importantly, what stands out to me right here is we do see there's quite a curve. There's quite a curve. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Citibank are way up there. And then it falls off by nearly half to Bank of America, and then half of that is Wells Fargo. And then far less than half of that is State Street Bank and Trust Company. And then below that, we get underneath the $1 trillion mark, and it's only 785 billion, 562 billion. Only. This is a monstrosity. This is a threat to humankind. This is an assault on humanity and civilization. This is a clown show. A clown show promoted for Clown World. This is insane. I don't even know what to make of this. I think what I need to do is do an entire video on this. It's mind-boggling. It's tough to even come up with the right thing to say right now because this is just so fucking crazy that I don't know what to do with it. How does it come unraveled? Well, I would guess that we've already seen in what fashion that can occur. First with the Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns in 2008, right? Overnight, illiquidity, and things just start shutting down, cascading. We allegedly came close with the UK crisis recently. In my opinion, is when it's this monstrous, this out of control. I don't think there's a safe and orderly way to let the air out of this balloon. This is crazy. On to the next slide. I got a whole bunch of slides for us. So I hope you got some snacks, and I hope you got a nice beverage because we got a lot of interesting stuff to look at. On to the next slide. I did find this video on TikTok. And what I wanted to say, we're going to just watch this it's a little short video, someone just showing their stack off. But the reason that what caught my eye about this is I do hope to see the day. I hope the day is soon arriving where people, especially younger people, would be putting their stacks on TikTok. It's very visual. And so we know that we do have Wall Street Silver. And we know we do have the Silver Bugs community. And there's some other places like Twitter during this silver squeeze where someone will show off their stack. But I would love to see perhaps a younger generation get into gold and silver and show us their stacks. But unfortunately, the ugly truth is that us sound money folks are so rare that this is not going to be a common sight. Even this is going to be such a flex. Even just a moderately sized silver stack, I think right now in a few years is going to be an unbelievable flex. It's going to be crazier. To me, a stack like this, I think people would see that and they don't know what to make of it. But in a few short years, this is going to be crazier than Floyd Mayweather. That's how much these things are going to need to be revalued. When we do see those derivatives burst, not all that can be converted into cash for sure. But all the energy that is injected into those systems and running the global economy, that energy is going to escape other places. And for sure, it's going to all commodities. But especially, I predict, gold and silver. Let's check out this video real quick.
$50,000 worth of precious metals. 1,200 ounces of silver, 20 plus ounces of gold, some platinum and palladium, This is over $80,000 worth of.
That's a nice stack. And I love, this is my prediction right here. This is the prediction. This is going to be more insane than Floyd Mayweather with his money cases, with his suitcases full of money. In a few years here, I want to come back to this clip and say, "Oh, I called it. I called it. It's coming." On to the next thing. Here we have a slide from Ditch the Deep State on Wall Street Silver. Oh no, this is not Ditch the Deep State. This is Quoth the Raven. This is from a Zero Hedge here. And what Quoth the Raven is pointing out, he writes, just some food for thought this morning while I prepare the rest of the week's content. If you haven't yet, read Chris DeMoose takes from yesterday. One of his long ideas was up to 10% yesterday, set to open up another 4%. I don't know what this means yet. We'll skip that part. Yeah, that's there's no detail there to read. Okay, so what I wanted to pass along in this chart, which was pointed out on Twitter a couple days ago, it shows that Comex weekly gold deliveries are breaking their 30-year range ceiling easily. They note the paper to physical ratio is 100 to 1, calling it an immense bid for gold, all in the open. So there you have it. It's a pretty straightforward chart right here. Let me get my little highlighter. So we're looking at the, oh, why did you do that? Stay open highlighter. We're just looking at this huge uptick right here. And that is, so that is going to be 100 times, that would be 100 times greater of a demand upon the physical asset versus what we do see right here in paper. And I believe this would be paper demand right here. Gold deliveries, yes. So they have not converted on these deliveries yet. Interesting stuff. Huge demand for gold. A sign of the times, undoubtedly. Next up. Here we have a post on Reddit from Wall Street Bets. We had one user here, Intelligent Choice 48. He writes, $71,000 gain from a call. So that means he bet for the price to go up. So I guess Credit Suisse fell so hard that he's one of the people that said, well, it can't actually keep going down from here because it's not actually bankrupt and they haven't actually claimed insolvency. They made it somehow, and that price really, really tanked. And so it was a good bet, a tidy gain of $71,000. It's always cool and interesting, and I'm not a hater. I'm happy for whoever this is that they made a bet, but there's always far more people that lost big, far more people that lose big doing this sort of thing. But Wall Street Bets is the place that you go and you get to see all that kind of stuff. Next up, we have here we have a post from Silver to Mars, a due diligence master on Wall Street Silver. Here we have an article that says gold, silver, copper, and oil prices could fall 13% or more, according to Credit Suisse. And this was just days before the insolvency crisis that we all heard about. Interesting. What to make of it, I'm not sure. But timely, ironic, coincidental, no doubt. Next up. Here we have a really interesting chart, again from Silver to Mars. Silver to Mars has a chart here that is silver versus Bitcoin. And as we know, Bitcoin is for the last decade gone to crazy insane heights, and silver has languished, leaving stackers bitterly, including myself, bitterly disappointed. But we seem to have found some sort of floor here, potentially, and we're crawling up this side of the arc. And if this were to hold true in any form, we would see by the year 2029 or 2031 that we'll be returning back to a silver to Bitcoin ratio that was closer to when Bitcoin did not exist. What to make of that? I don't know, but it's interesting. Here we have a post on, once again, Wall Street Silver. Silver's 3-inch says October raid went full Comex, $5,000 off the market. Excellent. So this is someone that took delivery. This is the invoice from the Comex. They took delivery. It says 5,000 off the market, but on here I do see an invoice for 2 deliveries of 1,000 ounce bars apiece, and it looks like those have gone to some sort of vault or agency to hold the metal. Good job, user, whoever you are. You are a hero. $2,000 ounces straight off the Comex here in physical bars. I wonder where the rest went. Here I have another video. I was just searching for interesting stuff on TikTok. So this is the title of this channel is Gold from Electronics, and I do believe this is this guy's into scrapping metal. So let's check out this video.
Time for us to get to the money. I usually charge for the free game, but today I'm gonna give y'all the free game for free because I ain't charging y'all today for the free game. So these little pieces, these little copper pieces, they got palladium on the end of them. So let me get this taken apart and then I'll show y'all where the palladium at. Show you how to get to these precious metals. All right, so I got it taken apart and there it go. Show y'all where the money at, where the free money at for free. Right there, those little pieces of metal on the tip, that's palladium. Yep, that's the free money. All you gotta do is go on Facebook Marketplace and look for Hammond organs. They all got some type of precious metal in it, but right now I'm on my palladium. So what I'm about to do, just the tip. That's all you want, just the tip. So I'm about to get those. All right, so.
And he did say in the video, this is coming from Hammond organs. It's an instrument. It's a piano-looking organ instrument. And I like one of the comments off to the side here. It says, I looked for Hammond organs on the marketplace and I couldn't find any. I'm really confused. Everyone was asking what this was actually from. Good stuff, though. I do believe that it will become more and more of a, it'll be more and more of a thing where as the prices really get to where they belong, the recycling opportunities are going to be crazy. You're going to see people really rummaging through the landfill and through their homes because the stuff that does contain gold and silver and platinum and palladium, and it's a lot of stuff because it's in all of our electronics, right? People are going to be stripping that down, and I'm sure many will have an entire operation doing only that. And it'll be worth it in 2 ways because the precious metal is going to be insanely valuable. But also, we're probably going to be on the rough side of a recession or a depression where people will be needing to scrounge more than ever to make ends meet. I was doing a little research here. I didn't get too deep into this. But just in case you were wondering, here's some of the most common uses of silver. This is just according to a regular old Yahoo search. Used in electricity, in electronics, used for its high conductivity. It says high conductivity, but I do believe that it's the best. It's the most conductive. Photography, used for the process of developing photographed silver. It's necessary because its sensitivity to light, especially because it contains bromide and iodine. It's used in medicine, coins. So coins would be your investment demand, jewelry, and I do believe that's around, I want to say 7 to 12% of the demand for silver worldwide is jewelry. Alloys, and so that'll be the different alloys that are created for objects and structures that go into buildings and other things that are designed. Catalysts, computing, white weapons. What is white weapons? White weapons. Let's now I need to know. That's interesting. What is white weapons? White weapons means a sharp or blunt object that can be used as an instrument of aggression. I don't think that's right. What is the meaning of white weapon? It's a firearm. Apparently, it's just all kinds of weapons. I think that's a little misleading. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more. It has to be used in far more things than just swords and knives. But we do have electric weapon devices like stun guns. But I do know that it's a very abundant ingredient in many of the sophisticated weaponry, and that they do use, especially for the heavy duty strong weapons that are used by military, that silver is a key component because of its conductivity. You need the most reliable material you can get, better than copper for its conductivity purposes, and therefore some of the most sophisticated weapons are going to contain silver in many more aspects, replacing copper in those instances. And I did want to play, this is the Economic Ninja. If you're not familiar with this guy, do follow his YouTube channel. It's a great YouTube channel. I want to play a quick clip from this because I thought he made a really great point right here.
Ties silver. Ever since then, the price of silver has been suppressed. Now I'm going to show you this. A cell phone. It's amazing. It's something every single person has now. Well, now we just saw nickel on an epic rise, unbelievable epic rise. Why? Because companies don't care. They're going to buy it at all costs because it doesn't really, it affects the price of the finished product, but not as much as you would think. Well, the same thing with silver. You see this device right here and every other electronic on Earth just about? You can't have it without silver. It is impossible. It's impossible to fire a Tomahawk missile without silver. I think there's 8 pounds of silver in each Tomahawk right now. Point being is this. Silver can go to $5,000 an ounce, and guess what? It would raise this up about 200 bucks. Wow. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think they're going to stop selling these if they raise up 200 bucks? No, absolutely not. Especially with the hyperinflation that's coming. So I want you to think about that. I'm not saying this is an investment advice. Don't go throw the whole boat at it. Don't, pile up, be smart with your investments. But right now, every single day that silver doesn't go up is a gift. And I've been saying that to myself for 12 years. It's a gift. Sit back and laugh under your breath at the people that would mock you for buying something that in their opinion is, there's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing cool about it. Why would you do that? I've got a meme stock. Score. Enjoy the meme stock. Because just like with what that billionaire just went through with nickel, because I can guarantee you that guy not only owns millions of dollars worth of nickels in a warehouse somewhere, he's also got nickel stocks and all that stuff, and I'm sure he's going to be just fine today. And just, he's a billionaire for a reason. Think about that when we talk about silver. Now, if you guys need physical silver, I've got links for that, affiliate links that help out the channel, companies I've done business with.
That's pretty good stuff. I thought this is an old video, but I thought this was a really great time to reshare that. And what I did do tonight is I was having some problems with the lag on my computer. So I tried a new tactic here, and let's see how this works out. I did try to split my presentation between different tabs so I didn't have so many browser tabs open at the same time. And hopefully this doesn't backfire on me here. Let's see how this works out. Now I got a million tabs loading all at once, but let's see what happens. Hopefully this is a lot more manageable for my, and let's see if it's even crashing right now. Hopefully when I replay this video, I don't have a crazy lag right here. But I'll keep looking for new ways to make this presentation as best as I can without any lags and with the good quality sound. And I'll always be looking for the best, most interesting information to give you. And when we do grow this channel, when it grows to the size that I envision it to be, we're going to have great guests for you too. It's coming. Next up. Let's see how we're doing here. So the other tab did go away. That's good news. The other set of tabs went away, but now looks like all of these are going to be loading individually, which is going to tax my RAM. But versus leaving them open the whole time, we'll see how this turns out. Okay, here we have a post on Wall Street Silver from a user that writes, oh, this is the Ditch the Deep State. Ditch the Deep State writes 2.6 million ounces of silver out of the vault today, somewhat offset by 1.7 million ounces arriving for a net loss of 0.9 million ounces. Brink's vault declines nearly 4% as it loses its status as the second highest vault total, and gold sees 2.1 tons out of register. And I did think there was something a little more juicy down here that I wanted to. Yes. So we do see, I was looking forward to seeing a new number here on the silver. So we almost broke under 41 million ounces in the Comex, but not quite. But I've seen over a million, 1.2 million ounces leave the Comex in one day, and we definitely have a lot of action right now. I'm talking about the registered silver. So we could see us potentially breaking the 40 million ounce tomorrow. And what I'm talking about here, if you're not familiar with this, is we're talking about the registered silver. You have two different numbers coming from these vaults. You have the total amount in the vault, but you also have that divided in between eligible and registered. And what we care about is the registered right now, because in theory, the eligible may not be for sale. That might be someone that's already decided that they're not going to sell to a somewhat higher price. Maybe they never sell. Maybe they're saving it for industry to sell later. Maybe it's a permanent storage of wealth for these owners. We don't know what their intentions are. All we know is that when it's ineligible, it's off the market. So we keep an eye on the registered because that's what's available for buying and selling, and the registered is dwindling. And we can get a visual. You do see right here on the screen, that is definitely all your registered silver going down, down, down. And it's not just one vault, it's all the vaults, right? Because Comex is a series of vaults. Silver deliveries after the first 3 days are only 26% of the contracts standing for delivery. That's lower than typical. Recent months have ranged from 58 to 125% after 3 days. Usually the banks are quick to issue delivery notices, and none of the deliveries so far are by a bank house account. I don't know what that means, but we got to keep an eye on every change right now. Maybe the banks are sitting it out for a reason. Maybe there's some kind of backdoor agreement. We all suspect that they're not playing by the rules. And this is why it's important to drain the silver, because they're not going to play by the rules. So we're going to take all the physical we can get for ourselves, but we also want to take that power away from the banks to pile so many derivatives on top of that silver. Just another way that they're manipulating and controlling. On to the next slide. Here I have a post from Neon Revolt on Gab. Neon Revolt writes, Looks like Mint Anon is dropping his latest silver round designs. LMAO! I thought this was a joke right here, but apparently these are silver rounds created by an individual that is the Mint Anon. And we have the precious metal General Pepe here, and coming for that fine booty. Pepe. What is he in this? He's like a conquistador. He's like a, I don't know, he's some sort of pirate. Oh yeah, he's got a little pirate flag right there. Really cool coins. And I was wondering to myself, is this real? And so I did follow some links, and I was able to find that yes, this Anon does have a mint. Doesn't appear to be fully stocked right now, so I'm looking forward. If these coins are affordable, I might have to take a couple of them. He does have some coins up on here, and some of them are very high priced. They're probably a limited amount minted, so maybe that's what justifies the price. But I'm gonna keep an eye. These are cool coins. I definitely not gonna be swinging $250 to $400 for a coin like that. I do like the silver shield coin. They're a little more affordable. But this is cool, especially if you're someone that just loves the design, then yeah, maybe you go for it. But I'm happy to promote or introduce someone to this Mint Anon, and then when they do get restocked with those cool and new coins, I'm going to have a look, and I'll probably bring it back on my show again. Next up, let's close some tabs and see how this works out for us. All right, that tab's going to go slow. We'll move on to the next thing. Here we have an article from goldseek.com. And this is an article written by Dave Kranzler. Dave Kranzler writes, "This is why gold and silver have begun to outperform the market. Perhaps this is why." Here we do have a really interesting chart. And this is why this is what I wanted to show you right here. Here's a great chart. So this chart is denominated in the billions, and your red line is the personal savings rate of the US consumer. We did see some spikes in people's savings accounts. That huge spike there, those were the COVID stimulus checks. Everyone got some free money. There was 2 of them there, right? And it's pretty funny. It's like the only time anyone's ever had any savings when they got some free money. It's tragic. It's tragic. This tells you a lot. And the blue line on top is credit card debt. And we see that credit card debt was getting out of control already before the pandemic, or just during the beginning of it, already surpassing the all-time highs of 2008 that preceded the financial crisis. And we had a huge dip with the stimulus, and we did this big U, and now we have surpassed that all-time high, and we appear to be on a vertical trajectory to who knows where. I suppose it goes up until it comes down. And how does it come down? By default, because I guess they won't be declaring that as debt after they've declared for bankruptcy or defaulted. Does this get paid back? I doubt it. But again, this is the tragic story of the average American, and yet another reason why this whole thing is unsustainable. On to the next slide. Here we have a tweet from Michael on Twitter. Really excellent account. I feature his tweets quite often because they're usually very informative. Here Michael writes, U.S. ends first day of fiscal year with 31 trillion in public debt outstanding, up 195 billion from the previous day. And I wonder, is that some sort of accounting? What happened there? How did we get almost 200 billion more in debt overnight? Was these some sort of bills taking? I bet that's what it was. There was bills taking effect that Congress passed to start on the new year, right? So already going wild with the spending. And I do like Chris Marcus underneath here, right? So I'm sure there's a plan to take care of that. And there's the plan. Great plan, guys. Something went wrong. Let's try reloading this. Michael Gayed writes, what is something that few understand? Don Durrett answers, if you don't know Don Durrett, I also recommend you following Don Durrett. I thought this was a cool tweet, but he's normally a financial guy. He's a silver guy, sound money guy. He does own the website goldstocks.com, and you can go there and get all kinds of interesting information about silver and gold mining stocks. Don Durrett writes, the truth about reality, we are not separate. We are one consciousness, which we all share. We are not humans. We are souls inhabiting human bodies. Souls are aspects of the creator. Individuality is an illusion. I thought that was a great tweet, and I like to read Don Durrett's tweets, even though most of them are not of this nature. And of course, Michael Gayed has some fire Twitter posts all day, every day. On to the next. Here we have an article from Reuters. Reuters writes, exclusive banks divert gold supply from India to China and Turkey. And so we do know, and we're probably going to have to dig in this article a little bit, but we do know that India was really buying up the silver. Really buying up the silver and the gold, really, but especially the silver. And I wonder, how do the banks justify, like, China is our preferred customer? Were they maintaining some sort of illusion? Were they maintaining an illusion that they sell to all buyers equally? And now they've pivoted from that reality and said, actually, China is our preferred customer, and Turkey, and Indians will have to pay more or wait for their gold. Is that what happened? Let's read the article a little bit. Gold supplying banks have cut back shipments to India ahead of major festivals in favor of focusing on China and Turkey and other markets where better premiums are offered. There you go. Three bank officials and 2 vault operators told Reuters. That could create scarcity in the world's second biggest market for gold and force Indian buyers to start paying hefty premiums for supplies in the approaching peak demand season. Sounds like they're playing games. Sounds like it's not an equal opportunity open market. Sounds like there's some fuckery going on, doesn't it? Leading gold suppliers to India, which include ICBC, Standard Bank, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, usually import more gold ahead of festivals and store it in vaults. But vaults now hold 10% less of the gold than they did a year ago, the sources told on Tuesday. Ideally, one guy says, ideally a few tons of gold should be there in vaults during this time of year. But now we only have a few kilos. Sounds like some sort of shortage. What's going on here? Sounds like some sort of deception.
But hey, these wolves really look friendly.
Here we have a post on Silverbugs Reddit. One user writes, if you had $1,500 face value of 90% Washington silver quarters, would you keep it or trade it for rounds and bars? Everyone that knows something on this board says you keep it. Do not convert to rounds and bars. Keep the face value. And one user did say the most important thing. Who said it? This guy. I'd keep it. New bars and rounds will be made. The quarters will have some form of numismatic value due to their history and actual use as money. So right now that numismatic value is not very high, but it's there. And when you do jump on to Amidst or SD Bullion, JM Bullion, you're definitely paying more for the constitutional silver, and it wasn't always that way, but you are now. Very important. I would not let go of that. And also, in times of a potential crisis, the constitutional money will be more recognized than the bars and coins, and it's in smaller fractions. So it has... So really the only downside I would say is you do carry a little bit more weight. And if weight is an issue for you, that could be some hindrance to keeping so much constitutional silver, but that would not stop me. I wanted to show you this post from, this is a really cool Instagram account. This is Johal Capital on Instagram. And he really puts some interesting financial and philosophical information up on the internet. And I do want you to watch this. This is so good.
Became like the #1 chocolate bar in the country. He just opened up a burger restaurant last week.
10,000 people showed up.
#1, no, more than that, like 100.
Let me restart it since we didn't catch the beginning of that. It opens up with the mute on. Let's try again.
Mr. Beast launched a chocolate bar, became like the #1 chocolate bar in the country. He just opened up a burger restaurant last week.
10,000 people showed up.
#1, no, more than that, like 100,000 or something. Kylie Jenner launches a makeup brand, takes off, becomes this $1 billion brand. Kim Kardashian launches a clothing brand, becomes a $3 billion brand. And here's what I think is the most prescient M&A transaction of 2022. And you guys can tell me I'm crazy. I think the most important M&A deal of 2022 was when Penn Gaming bought Barstool Sports, because it shows that every consumer packaged good or every consumer services business ultimately needs to be a content business. And if you don't naturally have content creation in your blood, you have to go and buy a content business or you are going to die. And that's why I think all traditional brands that aren't oriented and built around content creation as their primary differentiating foundation will not survive and will not be able to compete effectively. And instead, what we're going to see is influencers build and distribute consumer goods and consumer services in a more efficient way, because guess what? They've got distribution built in. Let's say Coca-Cola tried to build a content business today. How good would they be? Not very good. That's why they're going to end up dying.
I mean, do you think Mr. Beast Burger could beat McDonald's?
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's why I opened
That's
up
kind
by
of
saying,
insane when you think about it. If Mr. Beast had 5,000 franchisees.
Yeah, but this is exactly my point that I said at the beginning. Every traditional brand will get destroyed in 30 years. And they will get destroyed by the influencers that have built an audience through content creation and now creating businesses on top of that that compete with the traditional incumbents, not technology advantage businesses. I'm talking about core consumer goods and services.
They also have to be good,
Penn
though.
Gaming does betting. You know, there's no real advantage in betting. You build a sports book, that's it. The reason Penn Gaming bought Barstool is they now have an audience that they can drive to their sports books, right? And so the same will happen with
Still
Mr.
have to
Beast
make
Burger.
a great product, though. I mean, that's the other challenge here is, can you also be a product savant? Can you be a virtuoso in building a product in addition to being an influencer?
Yeah,
and I think that's what Kim gets right. She makes great product, and Mr. Beast, his first burger was not good, but now this new burger, from what I understand, is awesome. So you have to have both things switched on.
But think about what's easier and what's harder. What's easier? Building an audience of 2 billion or 1 billion people that listen or watch you every week, or building a great burger? It's a lot harder to build the audience. Yeah. And
Depends
so
on the product.
You'll
if it's
bring
a
in
car,
a chef.
If it's a car, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not talking about complicated cars and stuff or electronics. I'm talking about basic consumer goods: cereal, beverages, food.
Sure, why not? Commodity.
Music, audio, like all the stuff that's commodity. Betting. I mean, this is not
chocolate
like
bar.
Really, really interesting stuff there. Next up, we're gonna go back to Reddit, and here. Did Reddit lose my spot? That's the problem with using a tab manager. I did lose my spot on Reddit. So it was probably really interesting, and that's that's probably why I lost it. It was super interesting, and that's why it's gone. Oh, and I lost this one too. Let's see, how many did I lose? I'll have to be sure to open the tweets and open the Reddit posts, so I have a page to land on. Here we go. From Unusual Whales, just in, America's gross national debt is now exceeded 31 trillion for the first time ever. And I do like the comments underneath. Shiboshi Nakamoto says the government is fabulous at doing the job of showing Americans how to be fiscally responsible. Oh, there's Kamala. We did it, Joe. We did it. The debt is parabolic. Not Jerome Powell says, stop bringing this headline. This damages my reputation. Here we have an article from RT. RT is an excellent news source, especially if you want to find something that's original. Because so many of these websites now are the same freaking thing with slightly different language, and sometimes not even the language is different. It's all the same language. I used to love going to the Google News and see what kind of news that they would aggregate, and now it's just been reduced to the same article posted in all the different sites. It's really sad, but RT does do some original writing, at least it appears to be. Especially for world news, right? Here we have Le Pen issues grim winter warning. The EU's anti-Russian policies are hurting the French, the politician claims. France should brace for a tough winter as the result of EU's anti-Russian sanctions. The leader of the right-wing National Party parliamentary group said on Tuesday, adding the next winter will be even worse. So we're not just worried about this winter, but the next one's going to be even worse than that. Makes sense. And what we need to understand and what we need to explain to people that don't get these things is I was telling my friends about inflation like 3 years ago, or at a minimum, like during the beginning of the pandemic. And a lot of them didn't even really understand what inflation was, or if they had heard of it, they don't really see it as affecting their lives. And now everyone's really aware of what inflation is. And the next thing that's coming, and hope to God that it's not war, but what people are going to come to understand, and they'll become experts in. People will be becoming experts in energy, and eventually, perhaps at the same time, sound money. Marine Le Pen told BFM TV that the sanctions are not working. They are in fact harming the French people. She argued that the restrictions placed on Russia have proven to be counter-effective, helping Moscow to increase their oil revenues. Le Pen also said it's the responsibility for the plight of Europeans lies with those who decide and impose the anti-Russia measures. So we did see that Germany was made unable. This is how I heard it worded. They were made unable to surrender in the energy war against Russia by the accident that occurred recently on the Nord Stream 2, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't an accident, right? It was an incident. Let's see, we got any more juice in this? No, not really. Next tweet. Here we have a tweet from someone that's simply named T.O. And T.O. writes, the Fed is already pivoted like a boomerang, in-your-face graph. It will take ages for FinTwit superstars to see it. Let's open this graph a little bit. And what he's saying here is, here was the peak of the dollar right here. And since then, the dollar has begun, this peak right here what was causing all the chaos in other countries. And this was right when we heard all the UK bank bond crisis. We were looking at a potentially bond crisis also here in America, a 10-year treasury yield spiking to some extremely high levels and quickly. Also, Bank of Japan running into big trouble with its bonds. And you've seen the Central Bank of Japan step in and cap the yield of those bonds by using the central bank to get in there and purchase, which is modern monetary theory, a dubious practice if you're interested in sound money. But here we did see the dollar start to lose some steam and droop a little lower. And this gentleman is suggesting that the Fed has already pivoted, although we have not actually seen interest rates come down or anything of that nature. But we don't know what's going on behind the curtain. Have they resumed some sort of quantitative easing or stopped the quantitative tightening, which is so hard to understand? And there's so many avenues for them to add liquidity to the system, right? Or take liquidity out. Perhaps they did already pivot, at least privately. And there was a couple interesting responses to this underneath it. This user writes, DXY yearly, nothing bearish here, just a pullback at a former breakout zone. The first attempt usually does this. So this user is pointing out on a long-term chart, it does not necessarily look like a reversal. But I don't know. We will find out. It's good to have that context. It looked as though like it had reversed and maybe we were headed down. But when you look at the big chart, you always see something different, right? Next tweet. Gone. Another one gone. This is disappointing. I'm going to need a better solution for the upcoming shows. And perhaps some of these have been deleted. Sometimes I find some spicy tweets that are being passed around. And what I do is I just open a new tab and I leave that tab open. And I find it all the time that people are saying crazy shit or they're saying interesting things, especially on the Wall Street bets. And often the Twitter, and sometimes I would even assume that a really spicy tweet is going to get someone what do they call it on Twitter, a strike. And so you'll go back to it sometimes and it'll be gone. But here we go. Here's a tweet from Dr. Sean Baker, and he's got a big old piece of meat in his name here and his post, so we know what this guy is into. So he's laughing at Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat down 86% in the past year. There was like a Beyond Meat craze. It caught fire for a while there. And I did see for myself in the stores. Beyond Meat was really hot in these grocery stores, stocking big shelves of that stuff and selling it all. And I did try it myself. I tried it, and one time wasn't that bad. It was okay. Tasted like a hamburger, sort of, mostly, especially with cheese, right? But the thing for me though is, I wanted to try it out. I said, okay, what's the hype about? Let me try out this burger. And you cook it up and it sizzles like a piece of meat and it's kind of that texture and that color and it tastes pretty good. But when you flip that package over and you read what the ingredients are, I was not very impressed. I would rather just have some dead animal than some of these things I wasn't familiar with, I couldn't pronounce. Not too crazy about soy protein. I'll have it. I'm not totally, especially if it's organic, but I'm not too crazy. I'd rather just have some dead animal. But especially the oils, there was so much fat in those. But I guess that's how they have to do it to make it like a burger, right? You have to have fat for it to be a burger. But I said, I don't know about these oils. Seed oils, of course, right? No, thank you. I'd rather just have some dead animal. Next slide. Here we have an article from the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail writes, South Korea and U.S. military fire 4 surface-to-surface missiles in response to North Korea missile tests that forced evacuations in Japan and ratcheted up regional tensions. And I did cover that story last night. Apparently, out of nowhere, at least to us, North Korea suddenly has super duper Mach 17 missiles that, according to my research, weren't really available, or people, at least, well, let me say it like this. I researched the Mach 17, and the information that I found was speculating if that was even possible, but allegedly these North Koreans already have the Mach 17 speed capability of a hypersonic missile. And I did uncover another tweet. Someone speculating the U.S. has hypersonic missiles. We're not advertising it if we do, but I would assume that we do. But how does North Korea advance that technology so fast? Did they help? Did they have some help from their friends? From their friends, and I don't just mean China. From their other friends. You know what other friends? There's other friends. Let's read these little bullet points here. The missiles were fired off the sea, off the coast of the Korean Peninsula, in response to the missile test by North Korea. North Korea and the United States fired the 4 ground-to-ground missiles into the EC on Wednesday as part of joint drills. Each side launched 2 Army tactical missile system missiles, which hit mock targets and demonstrated their ability to deter any further provocations. Nuclear-armed North Korea test-fired an intermediate-range ballistic missile on Tuesday, sending it soaring over Japan for the first time in 5 years. President Joe Biden and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida have condemned North Korea's test. Okay. They responded. We got a few more slides left, and then we're going to call it a night. What are we at? 1 hour. Perfect. Here we have another tweet from Michael. Michael writes, in-stock silver kilo bars at Amex are now below 500 and continuing to fall. And we do care about these kilos because when people with bigger money do go in, they're going to go for the kilos first. I would expect, of course, there's 100-ounce bars, and I imagine there would be selling some 1,000-ounce bars also on Amex. If you can't get them from the Comex, like these other people are able to do a whole contract and take it all. But here we go. Kilo bars disappearing off of Amex. And the reason I do believe he tracks Amex is because Amex is is the largest retailer of precious metals, at least online. Final slide for the night. I love this tweet, and I'm gonna close this video by talking about this a little bit. Office Scary writes, do you ever really think about how years from now, no matter how this shakes out, you'll be able to say you're part of something way bigger than yourself? A fight for freedom, a chance to change the way we have been taught to see money.
This thing is a pyramid since time immemorial. Shit runs downhill, money goes up. It's that simple.
Do you ever really stop and think that we are part of a movement that comes once in a generation, a chance to change things for the working little guy? We are part of something that has the ability to be historic. Don't ever stop. We are getting close. I don't see any of that to be hyperbole. What keeps me interested in silver and precious metals is my research, and I do understand that there has been and may continue to be quicker money in crypto, quicker money in investing in the stock market. It's been a disappointing ride for people that have been stacking precious metals for a while now, but I think we're finally getting there. I wanted to be involved in something that I believe in. Life is very short. Life is very short. And you can do things that make you money. You can invest. And if all you really care about is the increase to your wealth, I understand that. I mean, we also sometimes work jobs that we don't love. But I did see this as an opportunity to do two things at the same time. One, I love precious metals, and I do believe that we are going to see a crazy revaluation of all precious metals. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a flex. To show your stack is going to be more impressive than Floyd Mayweather with backpacks full of dollar bills. Mark my words, it's coming. But there's not too many people that are doing what we're doing and stacking these precious metals. So it's not like these people are going to be all over the place. We're less than 1%. We're less than, I would say we are less than 1/10 of 1%. Lower than that. There's only a handful of us. And what we have going on now is the precious metals being vacuumed up by the banks, by the corporations that are going to need, especially the silver, for their gadgets, for their technology, that they will sell back to us at a much higher price. Undoubtedly, I would not be surprised. I mean, we're already kind of there. Like, sure, you get a payment plan for your phone. Yeah, because these phones can be expensive and you pay them, $100 or $50. But do we see the day? Is this really where we're headed? If there's an energy crisis, if metals are revalued, if energy becomes expensive, metals revalued, supply chains are breaking, all these things happening at the same time. The same way that you make payments on a car, are we looking at that same sort of thing for other pieces of technology? And perhaps the dream of the Klaus Schwabs of the world does come true, and owning a car is a luxury. I'm not saying this happens overnight, but does it become that owning a car is a luxury of the past? And we all do, in fact, share everything. You own nothing. Is that the you own nothing world? Very well could be. But it will be the people that do stack the sound money, and there's only one money, there's only one real money. It will be the people that are moving their wealth into real money right now that will have options. It's all about having options. And God knows what we'll be able to scoop up as everything crashes. And this is not what I want. This is frightening. I would rather just things stay the way they are now, to be honest. This is, you talk about it inconvenient. Here's the real inconvenient truth, right? Where we're headed on this. It might take another 8 years. We might not get there till 2030. But you saw that first slide with the derivatives. That's unsustainable. It's funny because all this language that they use to con us with global warming is real and true of other things, especially scarcity in energy, scarcity in metals. Now that's real, and that's where we're headed. And that those derivatives are going to blow. And so maybe this is why JP Morgan, with the most, that clears up a lot for me. Like, I learned something there. JP Morgan is by far holding the most value in derivatives. So in a way, they have the most to lose by the threat of precious metals, correct? Starting to make sense. It's gonna be worth the time to do a whole video on the derivative comment. And I'm sure that's not easy to understand. But I'll leave you with that. I do appreciate that you made it through this whole video. I hope it was a good video. I did my best to serve you tonight. Please do leave a comment if you have any suggestions for me. I appreciate you for watching, and I do hope that you're in good health and you have a good night. And I'll see you again tomorrow, without a doubt. See you soon. Bye.